What is up, you fantasy football rascals? Welcome
Little
on
rascal.
in, you little rascals and rascalettes out there, rascalitas. It's fantasy football time here at the Fantasy Alarm. I'm here, Andrew Cooper, got my buddy Howard Bender, and guess what? We're back to Wednesday. It's all about y'all today. Whatever questions you guys want, whether you have late waivers that run. Howard, I don't know about you, but I find that the Wednesday waivers are becoming more popular, like the Wednesday at noon waivers. Have you been seeing that?
Well, Wednesday at noon? No, like that's Scott Fishbowl
Scottish does that.
exclusive
I have another one that
right
does
now.
that though.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I have the majority of my leagues are Wednesday night waivers, right? Like
that's
at
nice.
midnight Eastern. And that's perfect for me because you get all the injury news. You know, like that's the thing. Like you want to sit there and you want to sort through and you do waivers on a Tuesday, but you're still waiting for like practice reports to come in. You're still waiting to see, injuries that happened on Sunday and whether or not, they're going to be extended into because it's always tough, right? Because you need to sort through it and get like the 2 days worth of information because nobody practices on a Wednesday anymore anyway. So
Injury news on Tuesday is garbage, bro.
garbage.
It's like I saw Tommy Tremble. He was carrying his helmet. That's literally the news you get on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks, and especially with you look at the Raiders, for instance. Both Alexander Madison and Zamir White went down last week's game, varying degrees of who knows what, and we have no idea what's going on, and we're expected to put in claims on these guys because they're all available and they all potentially could be the guy. It's just, yeah, it is kind of a nightmare. So I do like the Wednesday waivers, but today, folks, whatever questions you want, waiver questions, start sits, trades, DFS, underdog, you name it. You want to talk underdog pick'ems, you want to talk underdog playoff best ball, which those are starting. They're starting to get some hype, some steam on those. So whatever you guys want to do, man, we're talking about it today, and we see you guys hanging out in the chat. We got Jerry in the house. We got Josh. He's already got a question going. Before we get to the questions, Howard, did you add anybody on waivers yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, just some minor stuff. I mean, just a couple of shifting on some IDP guys that I did. I added just because, just I'm
Who did
looking.
you add? Who did you add in IDP?
Oh,
If you don't mind me asking, I
yeah.
do.
Well,
I
you
always
know
like
what?
to. I don't play a ton IDP, but I always like to hear who's like.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to swap it out. So this league that I play, and we've got a really, really short bench. So, I had to like get rid of like Terrell Bernard is on a is on a buy and Caden Ellis from Atlanta on a buy. But I added Kalijah Cansey to replace Will Anderson, who's been banged up. I added Kazir White for Terrell Bernard, and I actually added Josie Jewell was still out there. So I actually added Josie Jewell instead of I don't even remember. Oh, Caden Ellis is who I took out there. So, again, when you're sitting there and you're dealing with IDP, if you have, specific position designations, okay, great. But then if you also have like a defensive player, right? Like I've seen that in that I have that in this league where it's like
just one,
2 linebackers, 2 D linemen, 2 defensive backs, and 1 defensive player.
Right.
And I just always use a linebacker in that spot because those are the guys who accumulate the most tackles and stuff like that. So,
yeah, cornerbacks are so hard with that because like there are some corners that are so good that they don't accumulate any stats. So that I think it's tough to have like specific corners. I like when it's like safeties and stuff because sometimes like you have these guys that like will go on crazy stretches like Revis or like I remember Nnamdi Asomugha for a while. Nobody threw his direction for
right,
entire year, and it's like he's the best corner and he's terrible in IDP. So anyway, this isn't an IDP show. Who did you add in your real leagues? In your cool leagues?
I played around with some tight ends. Jatavian Sanders, obviously, you want to, if you have to stream a tight end, there's definitely an option there. I mean, Kansas City gives up. Still to this day, like I know that they gave up some early big plays early on in the season, but we're heading into week 12 right now, and they're still allowing the third most fantasy points per game to the tight end position. So you can't ignore that, especially when you're looking at a revamped offense like what they're doing in Carolina and what they're trying to do. So with Ian Thomas on IR and Tommy Tremble more focused on his honeymoon than anything else. And I think that, Jatavian Sanders. I also really like Theo Johnson.
Yep.
Going up against the Tampa Bay
Tampa
Buccaneers,
Bay. Yep.
who give up, a significant amount of points to the tight end position as well. And when you look at it, it's like, well, who's Tommy Cutlett's going to lean on in
Right.
one here? I mean, yes, it's going to be huck it, chuck it football to Malik Neighbors as much as possible, but where else is he going to look? And I think Theo Johnson becomes a really nice security blanket for him in this matchup.
And he runs a lot less than Daniel Jones. That's a fact that Daniel
Jones
Jones
run less than Daniel Jones.
So it's good news for Tyrone Tracy. I mean, hard to say good news, but there could be a potential shift towards guys like Theo Johnson and Tyrone Tracy. And for a brief period there, they had Theo Johnson block a ton in the 2 games where Andrew Thomas obviously is done, but when he got hurt, they had Theo Johnson block a few, 7 times in each of those games on pass plays. Last few weeks, it's been much better. He's looked a lot better, so I like him. I've been getting a lot of Luke Schoonmaker questions, and my initial reaction was no, but now that I think about it, like Jake Ferguson himself isn't that great of an athlete, right? The problem with Schoonmaker is he really does not do much for you in terms of beating man-to-man. He didn't back at Michigan. He doesn't really at this level, but I'm starting to come around a little bit on him being a spot start now that I look around the environment out here. You know what I mean? I mean, like there is nothing out there. If guys like Jonnu Smith and Theo Johnson and Hunter Henry are already picked up, it's not crazy to go Schoonmaker. More of a DFS play than anything, but I think people are going to look at the 10 targets and chase that. Would you rather start Theo Johnson or Schoon, man?
I would probably rather start Theo Johnson. I just think that, this matchup against Tampa Bay is definitely a lot more favorable for what we're looking at. There's still, I mean, you're going to have short passes, are going to be the feature. Even though Tampa's secondary is terrible, you're still going to see a lot of featured short passes. It's what we saw with Tommy DeVito last season as well when he came in for, a bunch of games there. So, as much as, and maybe it's also, like an anti-Dallas sort of a thing, but I also think that Washington's defense has definitely improved over the last few weeks. And while I'm not going to sit here and, pump Greg Martinez versus, filled with, lollipops, rainbows, and sunshine, I will say that they have looked better over the last couple. There it is. There's our daily racist comment from Greg Martinez.
Hail to the Commanders, Greg. Classic. For me, I also added I added Cam Akers in the league just where I'm like desperate. Somebody already had Gus Edwards the entire time, and it's like back-to-back weeks he's gotten 10 carries and ran 10 routes. So I'm going to throw him in and hope that they kind of are going easy on Aaron Jones with the ribs, which is what they have the last couple of weeks. I added Quentin Johnston in the league. Finally, a believer. John and Pemba will never give up on whoever the deep threat is for Justin Herbert, whether it's Mike Williams or, going all the way back to who was that cardio guy for a long time for them. I mean, and Pemba is a Herbert truther. So, but Quentin Johnston's been good. So why not? I also added Spencer Schrader. And I'm just thinking to myself, if they're beating up on the Panthers at the end of the game, maybe they just settle for some field goals. I mean, he's at least going to get some extra points. I'll tell you that. So,
I kind of feel like that's like a get right. Yeah, we can talk more about it when we talk about games that we're like super interested in. But I'm viewing, and I wrote this in the DFS watch list, which you guys can find over at Fantasy Alarm. By the way, if you don't subscribe to Fantasy Alarm yet, it's a spectacular time to do it right now because we're doing a giveaway here for subscribers who have signed up. I guess it's between like Monday and Thanksgiving Day. We're ending this promotion where if you sign up at fantasyalarm.com/Higgins, use the promo code Higgins, you'll get your 50%. You'll get your 7-day free trial. You'll get your 50% off your first month, but then you're also entered into a chance to receive a T. Higgins autographed rookie card with the tricolor patch on it. I know everybody's all about the Paul Skeens MLB debut patch, and that one's going on there. We're not going to offer any kind of a bounty for that, for the card. We're giving you a card here, which is, at least $100 in value right now, even more when T. Higgins dominates again this week. So fantasyalarm.com/Higgins, promo code Higgins gets you that opportunity to join and win that card Right? It's like we're giving you $100 to join the Fantasy Alarm
Right.
family.
And then you can post it. Then you can post it in the memorabilia, the collectors sports collectibles page over on Fantasy Alarm. Mr. John Impemba this morning just pulled a beautiful looking card, Howard. A blue Drake May rated rookie retro Don Russ card. Beautiful card, beautiful man.
If it's not a Topps Paul Skeens MLB patch card, debut patch card, then it doesn't matter.
I've seen
it just doesn't matter.
So are they trying to is Paul Skeens like a collector and he wants the card for himself? Is that why they're offering that? Or like what do they want?
I don't know if it's Paul Skeens himself. I think it's the team wants it. Like the team's offering, they're offering like it's like 2 seats behind home plate for the next 30 years. And on top of that, it's like a chance to take batting practice with the team and to do some like fantasy camp with the team. They're offering everything. And Livy Dunn is like, yeah, I'm going to come and hang out with you for an entire time. You know what?
Hang out with somebody else's girlfriend. That sounds great. That's awesome, dude. You know what I mean? No, I would definitely just try. That card's going directly to whatever auction house is willing to give me the lowest, to take the lowest cut. That's what
what would you do, Coop, if you pulled that card? Let's say if
I'm not going to move to Pittsburgh.
Well, no, I'm not going to move to Pittsburgh either. I'll sell the seats.
Well, what's more valuable? I mean, I would definitely just do the math on what's more valuable, the card itself, and again, maybe if they came out and were like, Paul is a big collector or his dad was a big collector and his dad wants the card and that's why we're doing this, then maybe you could get me with the heartstrings. If they're just going to like put it in the glass case at the stadium, then I'm just going to take exactly as much money as I can get for it. And I think that's what everyone should do with the memorabilia. Don't get tricked into giving up a ball that's worth $100,000 for a signed bat. Okay. Take a second, make a phone call, phone a friend, especially if you catch a ball at the game, you've had 4 beers, phone a friend. You know what I mean? Call John Impemba. Say, hey, what do you think?
John Impemba, tweet at JImpemba777.
Yeah. I'm going to sit down like I'm talking to Regis Philbin. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to use my phone a friend here. I'm going to call John Impemba and I'm going to ask him what this ball's worth before I give away Ohtani's 50-50 ball. You know what I mean? So just be careful out there, folks, So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I like to think that I would give the tickets to Josh Wagner, but I would.
He doesn't live in Pittsburgh either.
Yeah. But with that kind of deal, if you're a fan of the team, maybe you do move. Either way, let's get back on track here.
To Pittsburgh.
Hooray! I wonder if probably cheaper than where I live. Let's see what the chat's got going on. Josh K, happy hump day. What's up? What's up, fam? It's time for us to win the lottery. Superflex PPR. Please pick 2. Goff, Stroud, Wilson, DeVito. Happy 80th birthday to Danny DeVito. But this is a Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito question. Also, Bucky or Dowdle. So first one, 2 of those QBs, Howard.
2 of these QBs. I mean, I'm probably just going to lock down Goff and Stroud in this one here. I mean, I know that Stroud hasn't been the be-all, end-all, and it's, a little bit of tougher matchup here for him, and Joe Mixon is balling out. But, I mean, Russell Wilson going up against the Cleveland Browns, when Russell Wilson shows that he's incapable of red zone work, that we're talking about the possibility of I've already seen now Trey Lance has designed packages for this week. Cooper Rush announced as the starter, but that Trey Lance will have certain packages. And I definitely think, based on Arthur Smith's comments, that they're going to try and do some stuff with Justin Fields inside the red zone. So that takes Wilson off the table for me, especially in a game that's got an over-under of 36.5. These high school teams?
Yeah. I mean, I got some thoughts on that when we get to our little underdog pick segment for sure.
Okay. And then DeVito, I mean, I don't want to chance it. I don't want to trust it. I'd rather just take the floor of Goff and Stroud and just run with that.
Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Absolutely. So Goff and Stroud, easy one there, Josh. And then Bucky or Dowdle. I actually don't mind Bucky this week when I was doing my rankings because he's got a decent matchup. And boy, there are quite a few guys on bye week. Dowdle, not a good matchup and not a good quarterback. And also now they're telling us that they're going to put in a Taysom Hill type package at the goal line with Trey Lance. And if Trey Lance gets to play his first couple snaps of the season and they call an RPO, who do you think is going to run that ball, Howard? Do you think he's going to hand that ball off, or do you think he's going to take it himself?
I think he's going to probably take it himself.
That's what I would do. That's what I did in high school.
I think that's what he's going to do. No doubt. I like Bucky as well. Bucky's sitting in my in the watch list as well. So he's a decent choice for me, especially as a pay down.
Bucky Irving to me is a dynasty buy. If you can get him, obviously don't give up a first for him. But I really like the way that he has run the ball this year. He has looked good. You know what I mean? On the tape, on everything. He's looked good. The metrics are good, right? It's just the situation's kind of weird. But guys like this typically end up finding a way to play more or, taking over the role when the other guy leaves, or, making it easier for them to not pay the other guys. So I kind of like Bucky and Dino. Let's get back to this week now.
Wait a sec. Before you continue here with Jerry's question, Rod Elliott was very early into the chat over on the YouTubers.
Oh,
so here you go. I got a couple of questions for you here. Ready? Jameis Winston or Tua Tagovailoa?
I like Tua. I'm very much worried about Jameis Winston for this week, to be honest with you. And I'm worried about the other players on that team in that matchup. I'm not going to lie. I like JMO as like a guy to grab, but this particular week, I think it's going to be a bit of a trap cinch.
I agree. He also wants to know, in a dynasty league, he was offered Cedric Tillman and Kyle Pitts for Trey McBride. Says he could use the extra wide receiver.
I mean, could use as in like that would be your wide receiver 2 or your wide receiver 3. I mean, like, what are we talking here, Rod? Because Kyle Pitts has just been like, if he couldn't do it this past week in a perfect situation, I'm worried. I'm worried. This and the Darnell Mooney hamstring issue apparently isn't as bad as people think. They said it's not one like where he's going to go have surgery or go on IR, might miss a game, but I don't know. Trey McBride, if Trey McBride had just scored like 2 receiving touchdowns, we'd be thinking about him in a totally different light. I think I would just stick with the stud at tight end. It's a very, very difficult position right now.
I agree. And then finally, he wants to know whether to start Noah Brown or to pick up Nick Westbrook-Akine, Kayshon Boutte, or Tutu Atwell.
Did he say – definitely not Tutu. Did he say what format?
He did not.
Okay. Because if it was standard or half, we can't ignore Nick Westbrook-Akine scoring a touchdown every week, right?
Right.
5 of the last 6 weeks. I think Kayshon Boutte is definitely interesting in terms of his role, and now he's getting targets. I think that's probably the guy that I lean towards. Noah Brown just hasn't quite done much with he's getting the opportunity. He's not really doing a lot with it. If you take away the Hail Mary, which obviously, statistically speaking, we don't factor that into what we project for these players, he hasn't really done a damn thing. So I think I would go Kayshon Boutte. Unless it's standard, then I'd go Nick Westbrook.
All right. Well, there you go. Those are the questions that Rod snuck in there earlier. Back to you in the control room, Coop.
Awesome, Rod. Good job. And look at that. Howard and Coop. Does it get much better? Rod knows what's up. One and done league, CMC or Gibbs this week. So we're talking like Baby Bowl. We're talking like Scott Fish Bowl, one and done. So you got CMC this week going up against the Packers, and you've got Gibbs going up against the Colts.
CMC or Gibbs this. I mean,
so Ryan,
how do you sit CMC?
Yeah, so it's not a sit. So with these, Ryan, I actually wrote an article on this earlier this year on this format, and what I do is I use CMC here, and for 2 reasons. One, because CMC has been injury prone, and you want to use these injury prone guys before they get hurt. Use them as soon as possible. With these split backfields, I hold on to those guys. Because if one of Monty or Gibbs goes down and misses 1 game, you have 1 game to start them in this one and done where they're the feature back. So I would just hold on to Gibbs and wait and see if something happens to Monty and use him at that point. And same with Monty. That's what I've been doing in mine, where we've done pretty well. And I've actually won the Baby Bowl in the past, Ryan. So this is a format I'm actually pretty damn good at. So I would hold on to Gibbs and just wait for maybe that 1 game where there's no Monty and Gibbs just goes ballistic.
Cool.
DeVito, Michael Wilson, JT Sanders, Boutte, Mims, Coker, Bourne needs 1 in a super flex spot.
I mean, I'm just gonna use the quarterback here.
Got it.
You got to use DeVito, especially because he's got receiving weapons. He's got Malik Neighbors. I don't know if Darius Slayton's gonna play this week, but he's got Neighbors. He's got Theo Johnson. You've got a couple of fringe guys in the Wan'Dale Robinson. So I mean, you can adjust there to the short passing game that I expect to see from the Giants this week, and I'm fine with using that. I'd rather use DeVito over any of these other guys.
you got to keep in mind that you can be legitimately terrible in Superflex and score 10 points, right? Do you know how many points Cooper Rush scored this past week?
No, I
19.
don't.
19. In the first game he played, where he came in for half the game, he scored 13 points. Like, the floor for these guys is pretty damn good. Like, unless you have a guy that you can count on for 10 points, you just start the quarterback. That Superflex, that's the problem with that format.
Yeah.
It really makes quarterbacks. In any given week, there are 25 or so quarterbacks that score 10 points. So, you got to just start them. More than 2 socks, half PPR, trade Dell or McConkey for Worthy. For
Trade
Worthy.
Dell or McConkey for Worthy. North Dakota.
I think the next is supposed to be but no, don't trade. Don't do that. What's wrong with McConkey? What's wrong with Dell? I mean, Dell hasn't been great, but Worthy has had essentially one fantasy relevant game going back for like ever. Yeah. So don't do that. And the other trade is
trade Wilson for Nix off of waivers. Yeah, I would definitely use Bo Nix over Russell Wilson in quarterback. Sure.
Bo Nix is like QB7. Also got Baker and Cousins. Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah. Grab them. Flex one spot, Hubbard, McConkey, or Otten.
That's kind of an interesting one there. I think I would probably lean on McConkey in this matchup going up against the Ravens. Obviously the Ravens have been struggling in pass coverage for sure, and a better quarterback like Justin Herbert is going to be able to put some numbers up on them. As much as I like Hubbard, obviously we worry about Kansas City just beating up on Carolina, and does he get game flowed out? Do they, Canales never sits as running back, but how much, work is he actually going to get and see in this matchup? And then Otten, I think Mike Evans is coming back.
He's back, yeah. Otten's fine still. Although I would still start Otten over Jonnu, my man. Still right now. So maybe sit Jonnu with that group. With Ladd McConkey, like, it's in a week like this with this many bye weeks, it's impossible to rank 24 wide receivers over Ladd McConkey. Like, yeah. he's a wide receiver 2 minimum this week, and he could be ranked as high as, like, I think I have him like 18, like in the Har Bowl. Dude, this game's gonna be awesome. I'm fired up for this one. Georgia Edwards says 1 PPR super flex, need 1 Baker, Smith, or Mike Evans. So that's where you went to
again. We're with Baker.
With Baker, that's the thing. But if this question, here, just for example, out there, folks, if this question were Tommy Cutlets, Devonta Smith, or Mike Evans, now you have a real question, right? Because you have wide receivers that can score double-digit fantasy points, and I would start Mike Evans. But for Baker, you just got to start Baker because he is a guy. You need guys that score. For me to not start Baker, I need a guy that's scoring like 17 I need like Cooper Kupp or somebody. Best fantasy podcast period. Thanks, Brian. You rule, dude. 2 socks. Tampa Bay, Miami Cardinals, Rams defense. I did the defense ranking, Howard, so I'll take this one. Okay. Here's how I have these puppies ranked for this week. The top option of those guys is going to be Tampa against Tommy Cutlets for me. Next, I have the Dolphins against the Patriots because as much as we like Drake May, he makes some bad throws. No doubt about it. I'm not going to start Cardinals against the Seahawks, and then who do the Rams have?
Rams
are playing the Eagles, bro.
Yeah, I'm not doing them. I'm not using them there.
I think there's about 23 other teams I'd use over them. Okay, Rod. I have Brees on bye. Also have Braylon Allen. Because of this, I would have to play Mason. Would you keep Allen or drop him to play Ford or someone?
Brees on a bye.
You can't start Jordan Mason. He's playing like 2 snaps a game.
Yeah.
You gotta drop Braylon Allen. Oh, just wait. Just drop Jordan Mason.
I think you can drop Jordan Mason if you have to. If you have to get Ford in there, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, you gotta make a play. Likes for Laney. Love it. Thursdays at noon for my league. See how?
It's not just Thursday at noon. I like that. Although it's if you're tied up between noon and game time, noon and 8 for those 8 hours, then it becomes tough because
I miss. Yeah. Well, you can still always set it at night, but yeah, I miss Scott Fishbowl waivers every time because of this show, and that's why I missed making the playoffs by about 25
Oh,
points.
see, I checked my Scott Fishbowl before this show, and there's just nothing out there for us.
Yeah.
Waivers in my league is not pleasant.
Brutal. For the rest of the year, with the QB situation in Dallas, would you rather CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill? Same guy.
Yeah, it is the same guy. I mean, if I had to pick one over the other, it would probably be Tyreek, only because Dolphins are still in it. Cowboys are mathematically, I think they're not mathematically eliminated yet, but they are soon to be.
You know, that's what it boils down to, is that I would typically say go with CD because Tyreek they could shut him down for the wrist. But now they're saying as you predicted, Howard, the phantom injury reports are already coming around with CeeDee Lamb. Oh no. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Teams are being smarter with injuries these days. I have a theory, Howard. I have a theory that when playoff time comes around, or meaningful games right before playoffs, we're going to see some big games out of guys like Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. I think teams are saying, hey, you know what? Let's see how far we lost this guy last year, because the Ravens lost Mark Andrews and then they lost last year. That's what happened. And I think this year they're saying, hey, you know what? Let's see how we can do when we limit this guy. And then when push comes to shove, we'll rock and roll. Because we already saw the one game without Likely. He played 90% of the snaps. He looked like his old self. So I think teams are being smart. It's bad for fantasy, but it is what it is. Jeremy, what up, dude? Reddit superstar. He's got Scott Fishbowl playoffs. Congratulations. Needs 2. Bucky, Tank Dell, Josh Downs, Jacoby Myers. Which 2 do you like the most out of those?
I mean, for this week, I'm still in on Bucky, but I mean, you're talking PP. I'm in on Bucky. And then from there, I'm going to probably lean on Josh Downs, just getting the targets there. I mean, it's not great. It's not phenomenal, but this matchup here for the Colts this week, going up against Detroit. Detroit doesn't have the greatest secondary.
Right. I want to say that I have, and I don't have to estimate it because I'm going to look at it right now. I have Jacoby Myers ranked. I definitely have him ahead of Tank Dell. I have Jacoby Myers ranked ahead of those 2 guys. He's been getting kind of peppered up. Do it.
And you know what? I mean, it's kind of funny. Was it Denver? They've got this week.
Oh no, they don't. Do they? Oh, they do.
Yeah.
So
it's Denver this week, and you're dealing with that secondary as well. It's kind of
start Josh Downs. Sorry. Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay, Coop. It's okay.
Now I got to change my rankings. Oh, no. Good morning, guys. Well, good thing we're going through this and figuring this out early. Would you trade McLaurin in a standard league for Chase Brown? The caveat is I can keep McLaurin in the second round next year. I'm thinner at RB and then wide receiver.
Oh, I'm not keeping McLaurin as a second rounder next year. Are you?
No, of course not. Unless it's like a dynasty. I don't even know what type of format I would keep him in the second round. Trade for Chase Brown. It's a running back in a standard league. A starting running back in a standard league is gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Gold, Jerry. It's gold.
All right, let's.
Soup why don't we not a meal?
Why don't we take a quick second? We'll hit some underdog picks for this week. We'll talk a little bit about this game, right? So we got Steelers at Browns, 3.5 point spread, 36.5 point over under. Before we get to the underdogs, who do you think actually wins this game? The team of destiny or the Browns?
I'd probably lean towards the Steelers in this one here, just to win outright.
Win.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, it's going to be, I mean, this is what typical. This is why the Steelers fans are all up in my grill, because I'm criticizing the fact that they couldn't score a touchdown against the Ravens. This horrible pass defense that's been giving up crazy amounts of yardage, and yet Russell Wilson, he gets inside the red zone and he pees his pants. So
yes, dude, that's why I hate the hook on the 3.5. If it was 3,
exactly,
because Chris Boswell is the MVP of this team, so, and he'll probably kick the game-winning field goal.
But I'm tired of this, we're in the mud. Yeah, teams of destiny score touchdowns, don't kick field goals. So I'm looking at this. I still think I'd take Pittsburgh on the money line here. I don't even know what the money line is. for this one here, but I would probably ignore the spread in this one simply because of that extra hook that you've got in there. Where is it?
Your
Where's the money line?
your one mistake, Howard.
Yes.
Your one mistake is saying that teams of destiny don't kick field goals, because teams of destiny do whatever it takes. The standard is the standard. The standard is the standard, as Mike Tomlin would say.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho, let's get to our underdog picks.
Yes. So I've got a Howard, and you can feel free to. I think, did you guys do suspicious lines yesterday, or is that today on the show?
We did not do it yesterday. We might do it today. I'm
So if
still
you get
kind of
into
mulling it over.
if you get into some suspicious lines, I got a suspicious one here. Underdog has the pass attempts set for Jameis Winston at 33.5. This is a huck it, chuck it player that in the last 3 games that he started has not thrown less than 40. He's throwing 41, 45, 46, letting it fly. And they say 33.5 this week. For me, I'll tell you what, out in Fantasyland, that is scary for the likes of Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman and David Njoku and all these guys, because you can't get 8, basically all of them got either 8 or 10 targets this week. You can't have that happen if this guy's throwing 30 times. And because of how suspicious that number is, 33.5, I'm actually going to go lower. I'm going to lean into the narrative. I think Pittsburgh slows this game down. They take away what Jameis Winston wants to do, and Winston does not have the huck it chuck it game, and it is kind of a low, boring game. So I'm actually going to go lower on 33.5 pass attempts for JMO.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on that with you as well. You look at what Vegas puts as far as these go, and it's the infamous over is the infamous minus 130, and the under is minus 105. And like when you see that minus 130, it always, if it doesn't make you suspicious, you should be suspicious. So I like your thinking on that front as well. I think that's a good solid play.
Yeah,
gotta love the garbage truck right outside my place right now.
That's what I think this game's going to be, a big garbage truck, dude. It's it knew what we were talking about on that front. And I gotta say, I like the under. I think this is going to be a classic grind it out game. I think that both TJ Watt and Myles Garrett have done enough trash talking that they're going to be trying to get after the quarterback, and I think it's just going to be a lot of punts and a lot of field goals in this one. So I'm going lower there. What about you, Howard? What are you feeling for a underdog?
So I went with Jaylen Warren. He's starting to see a little bit more of an expanded role, and I'm wavering between higher than 2.5 receptions or higher than 37.5 rushing yards. Now he's cleared the 37.5 rushing yard total in each of his last 4 games, which is why I'm kind of leaning in that direction, because they are giving him a little bit more work. My concern, as you just mentioned, is the pass rush there for the Browns, and whether or not that limits the amount of running that Jaylen Warren does. And are we going to see a couple of more dump offs go his way? So I'm waffling between the two. For right now, I will say higher than 37.5 rushing yards for Jaylen Warren, but I reserve the right to change my mind to higher than 2.5 receptions.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And as we're getting farther and farther from this back issue for Jaylen Warren, I think we're going to see more of him, right? We're just going to see more of that going on. So those are our plays. If you want to get him in today, then you can stack it up with I think it's a Steph Curry is the special pick for today. Tomorrow, they'll probably have one for this game, but it's like 1 point for Steph Curry, which I think that's a pretty safe bet. So if you want to get set up, go over to Fantasy Alarm. Was it fantasyunderdog.com
fantasyalarm.com/underdog.
I had it in the right direction.
Or just zap the QR code that's right there in front of Coop right there. You can do that.
But that's how they get you, Howard.
That is how they get you. So go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog, which it says right there on the screen.
That's right. Use promo code alarm. They'll match your deposit 50% up to $1,000. And we're going to be doing the best balls all off season again. So you're going to use that moolah. All right, let's get back to the chat. Let's see what everybody's got popping. Eric wants to know, which QB do you like for week 12? Tua, Drake May, or Anthony Richardson? What a collection.
What a group.
Yeah.
I would probably say out of this group here, my lean is going to be Tua. I get that we're a little concerned as far as um, Tyreek Hill's health goes. I'm having a tough time trusting Anthony Richardson. Like Detroit doesn't have without Aiden Hutchinson and a banged up Zadarius Smith, who was like left the game last week. I worry that maybe Anthony Richardson doesn't get chased out of the pocket too much. Maybe they do worry about his angry run and throwing his shoulder into defenders there. I worry still. I'm not ready to trust Anthony Richardson. If you have to use him, then yeah, you use him. But if not, I'm going to lean to Tua here.
Yeah, I'm in on Tua, even as a Drake May and Richardson fan. This week, you got to remember, whoever has the best floor is going to win this week, because there's a lot of buys. It's brutal. The Dolphins beat the Patriots last time even without Tua, and the Dolphins are in win now. It's playoff time for this team. They cannot lose anymore. If they lose, their season's done. So they're going to beat up on the Patriots this week, I believe. Greg has 6 players on bye. Drop Jerome Ford for Juju or Kayshon Boutte. I just can't trust Juju. They went and got DeAndre Hopkins. Xavier Worthy actually played a bunch last week. I mean, how many fantasy relevant pass catchers can this team have, even against the Panthers?
I don't know. I'd probably lean Boutte here just because, I don't like the matchup for Jerome Ford going up against Pittsburgh, and Boutte is now seen for 4 straight games, 6 targets.
What more can you ask for in this world, Howard?
Yeah, I mean that's consistency,
targets, right?
That's like Bob Lung would be very proud of that.
Yes, the consistency report from Bob Lung, and also here are the snap counts for Kayshon Boutte over the last 3 weeks: 96%, 97%, 96%. That is very rare. Very rare to have a guy just play in the entire game. He played 73 snaps last week. That's nice, Bath. DJ Salu, I believe, is that one, but let me know if it's pronounced differently. Tua or May, and we're going to go with Tua because we already did that one. And then pick 2 for the flex and tight end. Jonnu, Disley, Pittman, or Odunze. So he's got the 2 hottest tight ends in football, Howard.
He does have the 2 hottest tight ends in football, and two very suspect wide receivers at this point right now.
Yes.
Like I get that Pittman saw like 8 targets. They were not quality targets this past week at all. And I worry again about Anthony Richardson and his passing ability here. And
Pittman's playing with a bad back. You can't watch those games and look at Pittman and think that guy looks right. He's hurt.
And Odunze, I can't. I'm not ready to make that. I'm not ready to put my trust into that one there, especially against these Minnesota corners.
Yeah. Also in trouble. I think I actually would probably still start Pittman, bad back Pittman, and Jonnu.
Really?
I think I would.
Not me, man. I'm too tight ending it here. Jonnu and Disley.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing with Disley. And I moved Disley up. We all like Disley. All right. We're all in on the Dizzler. It's a fun story, right? But I've seen, you look at like Fantasy Pros consensus rankings or whatever, where they take people all submit all their rankings for free to Fantasy Pros and don't get paid for it. And if you look at the consensus on that, they have Disley at like tight end 8, which actually this week I think is fine. But Zach Ertz is like tight end 15. And when you look at these 2 players, especially over the last 6 weeks from when Disley started doing anything and got his first 5 target game, Zach Ertz has actually scored more fantasy points. They've been the same guy. So for me, I'm like, I know we love the hot name and the waiver ad, but why is Disley being ranked so far ahead of Zach Ertz? Is there an explanation?
Because Zach Ertz is probably one of the least exciting tight ends out there right now. Like, I mean, he's boring.
So is Disley.
And he doesn't, but Disley gets touchdowns too.
They both scored touchdowns this week.
Did Ertz score a touchdown?
Yeah. Over the span.
Did he mean to?
He was by accident. It was by accident. I have just said, Ertz has more fantasy points. He's just as many touchdowns. He has a 2-point conversion. Like, for me, I don't even want to knock. I'm not knocking Disley. Disley rules. But I think Ertz is not getting the respect that he deserves. That's
you're knocking general consensus, and that's why I don't like general consensus rankings.
I'm knocking big fantasy. That's what I'm coming.
There you go.
Big fantasy, propping up Disley. I'm cool giving him his props. Let's give Ertz some respect for what he's doing. Okay.
I can dig that.
That's all. Yeah. with the likes of Stafford, Nix, Geno Richardson out there, is keeping Mahomes futile. Oh, the chat hitting us with a futile today, dude.
No, I'm not gonna. Like I said, I again. So here's my thoughts on this week's games. Chiefs take their first loss. Pressure is completely off them right now. What better way for Andy Reid to get his quarterback and his passing attack back on track than a nice slump buster like the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah. So
And I look at like it's exactly what I said about Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions last week. And everybody told me I was crazy because you got Montgomery and you got Jahmyr Gibbs. So of course you're just gonna run. And I'm like, this is one of those games where Dan Campbell says, you know what? We're gonna win this one pretty easily. Let's have some fun with it. Let's get our timing routes. Let's get our passing work going. And work it that way. And that's what we saw. We saw Jared Goff throw for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think Andy Reid turns around and says to Mahomes, "Listen, we're gonna jump. We're gonna grab a lead early. We'll probably run a lot of Kareem Hunt out there, and then once we get that, then we settle in and we'll just kind of we'll play around. We'll pick apart this defense. Get yourself you and Hopkins together, you and Kelsey together." I think that's what I'm seeing for this game here for the Chiefs.
if you're the Panthers, man, the Chiefs losing last week is the worst thing that could have happened to you. The Chiefs, like in Jurassic Park when the kids are hiding in the kitchen, like under the tables and stuff,
Yes.
and the Raptors are just walking around. That's the Panthers right now. Like the worst thing that could have happened was to have the Chiefs have their unbeaten streak broken, and then now they have a get right game where they're just going to come in and obliterate you. That is that's scary times for Tepper and the boys over there. When you play in a 12-team PPR where over 220 players are on active rosters, there's almost never anything viable on the waiver wire. Well, Rex, that's why we write 3 articles here at Fantasy Alarm. We have the main waiver wire article. That's for everybody, right? The must adds that are both good for now and for down the road. Then we have a second article. This one's behind the paywall for only loyal Fantasy Alarm members. This is a special one for you where we do streamers. These guys, some of these guys, Howard, are rostered in 0% of leagues. Yeah. Like I'm saying, even ESPN has percentages that go to the decimal, and it rounds down to 0 because it's like 0.2. So we got those guys in those leagues there. And on the last article, the stashes article, that's where we go even deeper. The handcuffs for the handcuffs. Like you can, we cover the craziest weirdo leagues out there. As deep as you want to go, Rex. So if you're a Fantasy Alarm member, you're covered for your 16. JB Barry's in a 32-team league with IDP and stuff, and we talk about the guys that he should be adding. So Fantasy Alarm. And right now, if you get signed up for Fantasy Alarm using promo code Higgins, you get 50% off the first month, and you get entered into a giveaway to get an autographed T. Higgins rookie card that has a jersey patch on it with all 3 colors on there. All right. Crazy. So get set up now. You get all that information. And, get your questions in here. We'll answer them here too. Brunch in the house. What's up, Brunch? 12-team, 10 bench, 6-point passing. Do I drop Love, Mayfield, Nix for Anthony Richardson? I don't think I do.
No, I think I think you're fine. I mean, I get that Jordan Love has been a little rough lately, and that's been an issue. But Mayfield is still going to sling the rock a bunch. Nix is your upside mobile QB. I don't really see a reason to make this move unless you truly believe in Anthony Richardson, which, I mean, I just think we're all still kind of suspect about it. I think it's it's a little not yet.
How about fully that? Agree. And for Bo Nix's bye week, Jordan Love gets the Lions. That'll be a shootout. Like there's some good mixing and matching with what you have. Hunter in the hen house. Yeah, let's go, dude. Hunter Henry, 9 targets. We're back. We're so back. We were gone for a minute. Now we're back. Chinchilla ice on with a fitted. Let's go. Josh wants to know Madison, Raheem Gostert, Gus Edwards, or Jerome Ford.
Yeah, that's a horrible group. We got to wait and see what the injury status is for Alexander Madison. If he's healthy, then I'd probably use Madison. If he's not, I'd probably lean Gus Edwards.
Yeah, and Gus Edwards, even then, this matchup is not ideal for Gus Edwards
No.
because the Ravens, what they do is they stack the box and they make you throw it to the running back. So which Gus is not Gus Edwards' sweet spot, let me tell you. Gus Edwards is he'll get some carries, but I mean, I think you got to go that way. I think he's still the better option, but it's just not a great situation. Yeah, Troy, we're live taking questions now. Home Slice, get him in the chat, dude. We're actually behind, so we're gonna go rapid fire real quick. Chris wants to know, think Hunt holds RB1 status for the Chiefs just this weekend?
Yes.
I think he does, but would not be surprised to see him mix in Pacheco just to get him some reps. Darnold, Richardson, or Wilson?
This week, Richardson out of this crew. I was looking at some numbers there for Sam Darnold, and the numbers are not good since the injury to Christian Darrisaw. What do I have here? 8.4 to 7.5 yards per attempt for Darnold, and he went from a 12 to 5 touchdown to interception ratio to a 5 to 5 touchdown to interception ratio just since Darrisaw's injury in week number 8.
Oops. Cam Robinson is not Christian Darrisaw. Sorry, everybody. So it was not Tyrell Williams I was thinking of, but Toronto Dave got it.
Jalen Guyton.
The all-exercise champion. T is going to dominate the bye week, dude. Yeah. Up and down the hill all week. Just getting ready. I mean, T. Higgins is – I pulled it the other day, Howard. Jamar Chase is number 1 in fantasy points per game. T. Higgins is number 6. So, awesome if you went for the Bengals. IDP question. Need a linebacker. Would you pick up Queen playing tomorrow, Tranquil or Ernest Jones? So, we opened the door to IDP questions here, Howard. I do like Patrick Queen. I think his I was looking at some of his tackle over under numbers. It said at like 7.5, which I mean, that sounds pretty good. No,
yeah.
Ernest Jones has been very good though as well.
Ernest Jones has been good. I'll favor Patrick Queen.
Yeah. Brunch. 2 scrubs at tight end and Kelsey and Andrews. Should I just add Johnny Ertz likely and end the headaches?
No, just play Kelsey and stop.
Play Kelsey, man. Play Kelsey. Get it appraised well in the stands. Yes, yeah. Now that's how far we are back in the chat. And they were talking about memorabilia. Okay. Rapid fire. Ralph, desperate for RB2 this week. Been carrying Mason and Chubb. Do I stick with Chubb this week or drop one and pick up Estime, Abdullah, or Benson?
I think you can drop Mason and probably pick up either Estime or Abdullah. Probably Estime, just to see how he gets mixed in so far still.
Exactly. And I would actually wait until we get information on Madison and Zamir White. And if they're both out, then pick up Abdullah. Otherwise, go with Estime. Yeah. Benson is a lateral move to Mason. You need an injury, basically, for those guys. Tillman or Judy this week? I don't trust either, Ann, but if you have to start one, what do you think, Howard?
If I have to start one, I'm going to start Judy.
Yeah. I mean, he leads the team in targets this year.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 100 targets, Jerry Judy is. Dynasty trade. I could use a wide receiver. I'd give McBride, get back Pitts and Tillman.
Oh, no. Yeah, we talked about this one already. We don't want to do that.
JSN or Downs? JSN has been good.
JSN, yeah, he's got a good matchup for himself this week also. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. JMO or Tua? We like Tua. We're a little worried about JMO.
Yeah.
A little worried about JMO. Lance, DeVito, or Fields? Hal is in the
this is gross. I mean, you got to go with DeVito only because he's the, he's the only one who's actually starting and playing.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the only one that could actually hold down the job. If he needs a good game this week. Need 2 flex: Palmer, Shep, Michael Wilson, Pierce, Mike Williams. I think Alec Pierce got to be one. What else?
I guess I'm going to do Mike Williams because McConkey and QJ have definitely pushed Palmer to the wayside. Right. So Pearson and Williams for me.
Jalen McMillan is also expected back.
Yeah.
Michael Wilson's not really doing a whole lot. Tua or Baker? That's a question.
That is a question. I'm going to go with Tua.
Yeah, that's how I have it as well. RB need 1. Rashad, Bucky, Tillman, or D-Hop? So
It's
need two.
PPR, so Rashad becomes a little bit more interesting there, and then DeAndre Hopkins for me.
Yep, absolutely. Can you rank Love, Herbert, and Geno rest of the day for the rest of today? Who do you think is going to be?
Herbert, then Geno, then Love.
So that's for today and for the rest of the season as well.
Herbert, then Love, then Geno.
There it is. Perfect. Dynasty trading away Cousins and Lamb, getting May, Coleman, Addison in the third. Or I can get some more. Dude, yeah, you can't trade away Lamb for anything more than a superstar.
Yeah,
So
that's scrap right there. You're getting scrap for that, even in a super flex.
right. And we like May, but like if you need a locked in asset, May is gotta remember how many guys flashed as rookies and then kind of fizzled. So you gotta get something locked in if you're gonna trade away CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb rules. It beat Howard Bender League, got to sit one, Dobbins, McLaurin, JSN.
Ooh.
Not against you.
Man, if I gotta sit one of these guys, I guess I'm gonna probably sit Dobbins in this matchup against the Ravens.
Yep, because he's not really a guy that's going to go out and get 7 or 8 targets, which is what you have to do as a running back against the Ravens. Pacheco over Monty and James Conner.
No,
Definitely
not
over
even
James
close.
Conner. No, not over.
I don't even know if Pacheco's playing.
Yeah, we don't know. And James Conner is like an incredible start this week against the Seahawks. Yeah. Happy hump day. Check the waivers. Roshan or Charbonnet?
I'll go Roshan here. He seems to be carving out a little bit bigger of a role for himself there in Chicago.
They like Roshan. Made the playoffs in Scott Fish Bowl by 40. So
congratulations.
Good job, Luke. 7 teams from our Denver draft. Look at you guys, dude. It's got to be those nice craft beers out there. Had you guys nice and loose. It's a craft premium grade cannabis. Then we're talking about. Should I drop Hawkinson for Johnson, Kraft, or Andrews? Thank you both.
Well, you're the one who's been exploring Hawkinson's usage and his playing a less than 50% snap share, even when he's back, still seeing, Coop's fallen. He's done. That's it. Coop's over.
so far, my research into that is inconclusive. Nobody's talking about it. Like, it's like Mark Andrews, like nobody's giving, like Mark Andrews, we're trying to figure out like when he would get ramped up, if he would get ramped up earlier in the year. And everyone just kept saying, yeah, he's fine. He's going to be good. But then his snaps never changed. That's what they're doing with Hawkinson. They're like, yep, good to be back. But he's not playing more than 50% of snaps. So if and when I find something, I will tweet it. But
I'm not doing it over Kraft against, with Kraft, who's going up against San Francisco.
No, it's Hawk over all those guys.
Yeah, I'm not going Hawk over any of those guys.
Kraft just had 0 points, and now he has the worst possible matchup. And Theo Johnson's playing with Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Worthy, Addison, Tillman.
I actually really like Addison's matchup this week. I think that's going to be a good sneaky spot for him. And I think he's going to continue to see some decent targets here. So, against the Bears, you're going to have Jalen Johnson, who's going to be spending all of his time with Justin Jefferson. So
yeah,
I think that's going to soften up the coverage on Addison.
Agreed. RBs are Aaron Jones, Akers, and Bigsby. ETN on the wire. I don't know why I can't get this one to pop on the screen. There we go. Would you drop Akers for ETN? I think
no, definitely not this week.
If you're not starting Akers, then I think I would. Actually, he also has Aaron Jones, so I would just keep Akers.
Yeah, just keep the handcuff.
Yeah. Happy Wednesday, gang. I need one in non-PPR. Ridley, Jaden Reed, MHJ, Jacoby Myers. I really like Jaden Reed in non-PPR because he gets the handoffs right now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Bad weather tomorrow. Yeah, bad weather, bad Browns. I like the under as well. There you go. People talk about weather. Cedric Tillman for Waddle.
I have zero interest in Jalen Waddle. So go ahead.
You cursed Waddle.
I didn't curse Waddle. I just told everybody in week 3 that you should drop him, that he's not worthy of a roster spot anymore. And what's Jalen Waddle done? Even with Tua back.
He's been trying to battle a curse that's been levied on him. Unfair. Oh, look out. You guys might get cursed. Oh. I think you got Luke with that one. Superflex gets Hurts. Have Lamar. give Nakua and Russell Wilson for Hurts.
Who are your? I mean, the real question is, who are your other wide receivers here?
He's got Barkley.
Oh, he's got all these Eagles too. I don't know if you want to overinvest in Eagles like that, but
can you trade? Yeah, I don't know. If you could trade Devonta Smith and Russ for her, and just your team is just the Eagles. Yeah. I don't know if I love, because then you're just betting that they're going to be awesome 3 games in a row in the playoffs. I don't know if I would do that. I don't think I would do that. McConkey or Devonta Smith? Devonta Smith.
Ooh, yeah, I like Devonta Smith this week for sure.
I wonder if McConkey's not 100%. Disley has much better matchups rest of the season in comparison to Ertz. Well, I'm not even looking at rest of the season rankings. I'm looking at just this week, where Chargers going up against the Ravens, Ertz is going up against
Dallas.
I mean, it's like there's no reason for them to have that big of disparity. Both guys are slow. Both guys need targets. Both guys could score a touchdown. When did you get into fantasy football? Before or after the show Lost? There you go. Mateo Feo calling out. Which one of us? Hello. Right?
Before Lost.
Yeah. It sounds like some handsome fellas on that Lost show. Hello, fellas. I'm looking for a defense. Eagles, Bears, Cardinals, Rams, Buccaneers. Who do you like? I like the Eagles of that group, I want to say without looking. And then now.
No, Buccaneers going up against Tommy DeVito.
Oh, Eagles against the Rams, yeah. No, it's the Buccaneers. That's what I have.
It's the Bucks, baby.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said the Eagles. Saquon and Garrett Wilson or Brees and JJ?
I'd probably Saquon and Garrett Wilson, just because I think that I like what Saquon's doing there for the Eagles. And again, you're gonna have an ego issue with Aaron Rodgers the rest of the way, because of all the stuff that's going on with the Jets right now and how they're gonna move on from him next year. You're gonna have some ego issues there with Aaron Rodgers, and I kind of want to steer clear from that, because it could affect Breece Hall in a very negative way.
Yeah, my question is, why do that trade? It's also very odd, unless it's like a bye week issue. All right, couple minutes left in the show. I think we can knock these questions. Cutlets or famous Jameis? It's got to be Jameis.
Jameis.
Neighbors or Wandale?
He's got Jameis. Neighbors and Wandale. Yeah, well, that's the last thing you want to do is overinvest in Giants. How about that?
Yeah. Toronto Dave caught my Lloyd Banks lyrics earlier. Just sneaking them in there, dude. No big deal. Don't believe in Richardson. More a playoff stash. Chuba or DJ Moore?
I'll probably go with Chuba.
Yep. Pacheco and Hunt
together. Yeah. I mean, again, we don't know if Pacheco's playing, so you can't make that.
We got to know what the options are.
Yeah.
Would you drop DJ Moore to pick up QJ? That's a little too much, I think, surely.
Yeah, probably not.
But it's not necessarily crazy.
Not crazy, but I probably wouldn't do it.
I probably wouldn't do it. Because Caleb looked a little better last week, I will admit. Hunt, JSN, or Brooks?
Hunt for me.
Yeah.
Run up against Carolina, Hunt.
Yeah, he's going to eat.
In what could be his last game as the starter, Hunt.
Even if they split. Tackle monster, I was looking at Patrick Queen. I gotta dig in a little deeper, but Queen is the guy we like best so far. Noah Brown, Odunze, or Vele?
Probably Noah Brown.
Yeah, it's Noah Brown. Half point, one RB, one flex. Pacheco's back. Pacheco, Hunt, Elijah Moore, and Dowdle.
Well, Pacheco, again, don't know if he's going to be back, and I'm not starting him in his first week back either. So for me, this is Hunt and Elijah Moore.
Yep. Toronto Dave with the premium grade cannabis in the chat. Mahomes for Geno, Stafford, Nix, Richardson.
No. Yeah, answered that already.
Trade. Lamar and Neighbors for Burrow and Chase.
Oh, I would definitely take Burrow and Chase.
Yeah. Lamar's been so good, but Burrow and Chase together have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plus, they're messing with the quarterback for Neighbors. Goddard or Ertz?
Goddard in this matchup here against the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Love or Herbert for Knicks? Drop them.
I mean, you could drop Love for Knicks if you wanted to, but I don't think that's really a good move. I wouldn't do it.
Worthy, Tillman, Goddard, or Ertz? Just one. Hard to go
Probably
away
go,
from Tillman. Even the matchup, right?
yeah,
Tillman's
probably
been
go
pretty good.
Goddard here.
Goddard over Tillman?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're going up against Pittsburgh in a game that's got 36.5 over under, and you're talking about the under on Jameis Winston's throws, his pass
Right.
attempts,
Yeah, fine.
and there's weather.
Yeah, and it's the Rams for Goddard. All right. Broncos and Bucks D are available. Which do you prefer this week?
I prefer the Bucks D this week, but I mean, I could not. I also like Denver going up against the Raiders.
Yeah, don't drop the Broncos to add the Bucks. That's where I live. We like Addison over Odunze.
Yep.
Akers, Abdullah, Roshan.
Roshan.
It's probably Roshan, but Akers has been kind of getting looks, man. It's probably Roshan. Stafford or Richardson?
6 points for a passing TD. I'll go Stafford, considering that he's got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Thoughts on Odunze and Brooks? I mean, you can't start Brooks in his first game back. We don't know what he's going to do, and he's playing against the Chiefs, so it's got to be Odunze.
And O'Dunes, it's a tough matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. They've got a good secondary. They've got good cover corners.
Yeah. Kyler or Justin Herbert?
Herbert.
Herbert in the big one. Start Dell or Downs? Downs. All right, here we go. Chubb, estimate Justice Hill.
Chubb.
Stafford, Geno, or Tua?
Tua.
Yeah. Dynasty PPR trade. Pacheco for Amari and Leggett. No. Pacheco
Probably
side.
not.
Pacheco side. Ertz, Worthy, Tillman. This is the last question of the
show. In this case here, I might go Tillman.
I think you got to go Tillman there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Always a blast with you guys. Subscribe to the channel and like. You can do that for free. It helps you. It helps us. If you want to help us even more and help yourself even more, go over to fantasyalarm.com/Higgins, and you can get set up right now with a Fantasy Alarm account for the next month, which is essentially the rest of fantasy football, at 50% off. And you get entered into a giveaway to potentially get a free T. Higgins rookie card autographed with the tricolor patch, all 3 colors on there. Doesn't get much better than that. We're giving that away now. Go get set up with that right now. For us, we're out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. And the stream's going to end any second.